Drills Talk, episode 130. In this episode, we're going to discuss the top 3 ways to avoid regrets. This is based on a blog I wrote in the past entitled Why Live with Regrets? Why do we live with regrets? Well, at the time the choice was made, it seemed like a good idea. It allowed us to procrastinate. It allowed us to not envision ourselves failing. It allowed us to not try and fail. It was just an easier choice at the time. But every time we make those easy choices, this little thing called regret gets a little bigger than it was before. And we have to live with it later on in life. And it hurts. So let's figure out some ways to avoid that. Shall we? Let's go.
Yo, Drills.
Drills Talk, episode 130. In this episode, we're going to discuss the top 3 ways to avoid regrets. But before we get started, please like, subscribe, show your love however you would like to show your love. Here we're an entrepreneurship / wellness / mental health channel. Every Monday we have a new blog. Every Wednesday I post a new Drills Talk. We also will post inspirational videos, mindset motivation videos, and I hope you check those out too. Let's get started. Number one is to stop talking, start doing. It seems very simple. It's 2 steps, right? It's stop talking, start doing. You want to do this, you want to do that. No more of that. We're going to actually start doing it. It doesn't matter what scale it's on. You could want to be the biggest such and such, fill in the blank there is in the world. But you must start at a small scale. You must practice what you're doing. You must perfect whatever you're doing. If you're cooking, perfect that recipe. If you are singing, perfect your voice. If you are writing, perfect your skill in being able to produce very catchy, very rhythmic tunes. Whatever you need to do, we need to start doing it. And we need to be okay with the scale that we have to start on, which is the bottom. In our heads, we envision ourselves as the top of the top, the cream of the crop, and we want to start there. And it's just not realistic, right? But we tell ourselves that it is realistic because we see so-and-so and so-and-so and so-and-so, and they're doing it, and they're on TV, and maybe they're our age, maybe at worst, they're younger than us, and it just makes us feel like crap, right? It's like, well, I guess I missed the boat. So I'll just continue to start talking about what I wanted to do, what I would like to do, what I should have done. But the problem is we're not recognizing that we're wasting all of that time, all of that fake good feeling we're getting from describing what we wanted to do. We can get that every day in a real form by doing what it is we want to do. Stop talking, start doing. Number two is to scare yourself. This can happen, right? You can want to do something. You can want to knock something off your list. You can have a phobia that you need to get over, and you never do it. You tell yourself a lot that you should do it, you want to do it. The one's still there. But you need some motivation to get you, that next step, to that action step, to, actually getting out there and doing something it is you said you want to do. Because that little piece of regret that I discussed earlier, that's getting bigger and bigger as time goes on. A lot of things can happen. So how do you scare yourself into doing it? Well, one, is it something that's time-based? Is it something that you need to do while you're at a younger age? Do you need a massive amount of energy to do it? Well, as you get older, you won't have that energy. That should scare you, right? What about never being able to feel that feeling you feel, although temporarily, when you're discussing what you want to do? You know that feeling? You know that feeling you get when you're talking about it and everything's great and you feel so good and you're smiling, describing what could be? What about never actually feeling that? What about that realization that, you know what? The only time I'm going to experience this is when I talk about it as a possibility. That should scare you. We don't want that. We want the ability to at least see ourselves have that day. And yes, that day can turn to a life. That day can last for years, but it can never get to lasting at all if we don't work our way towards it. So scare yourself and say, how would I feel if I never get to feel what I feel when I discuss this, when I talk about it? How would I feel if I allow myself to get a little too up in age to attempt to do what it is I want to do? If it's something that I need a skill for, and it's I need strength, or I need athleticism, or I need stamina, it's not going to get better as we age, right? So the sooner the better. Scare yourself into doing it. Get it done. You can do it. We can do it. Why don't we? Because we need a little extra motivation. Well, we know to stop talking about it and start doing. We could also scare ourselves for a little more motivation to get ourselves down that journey a little quicker and to stay on that journey a little longer until we get to where we want to get to. Number three. Number three is to anger yourself. If scaring yourself is not quite doing it, or not pushing you enough, or you're slowing down and the scare is not as scary as it used to be, utilize anger. Let's say you're a cook. Let's say you're a musician. Whatever it is that you are, if you're a cook and you see people on TV and they're living their dream and yours, right? Same dream. They're living your dream, and you see that their skills are not really up to par, but they're doing something that you feel you should be doing. You're watching a TV show. They have their own TV show. They're not that skilled in your mind, and because you practice and hone your craft, but you haven't pushed yourself out there to ever be in position to be on a TV show like that. Now let's go to musician. This is very easy for me as I sit in the studio, right? Imagine a daily, let's just say myself or someone similar, living in the studio basically, right? And hearing stuff on the radio, on TV, in people's cars, that's subpar. And we know it's subpar. And we're trying on a day-to-day basis to get our stuff out there and catch the ears of those people listening to subpar music. That anger can keep us going, because it's like, I don't know if the masses know what they're listening to. Maybe they just need something or a better example, and then things will be better. That can anger me. And that anger is like, oh my goodness, why is my stuff not out there? Well, guess who can get my stuff out there? Me, right? I can write, I can produce it, I can record it, and then I can market it to that same person that's listening to that subpar music. I can submit it to that same radio station playing that, subpar music. But if I never get to that point, if I never anger myself to enough to say, hey, this person or these people who are making B-, C+ music are living the life that I, want to live, grasping the ear of the people and the folks who love my genre of music, when they can have an A or an A+ from me. That anger, we can take that anger and make it motivation and push towards exactly what it is we want to do. So whatever industry that you want to get into, just imagine the people that you want to service walking around with C+ service, B- service, when you can supply them with an A or more. Drills Talk, episode 130. These were the top 3 ways to avoid regrets. Get out there. You can do it. We can do it. Thanks for listening. It's drills.com. Check this shit out. It's Drills.